not 3 o'clock yet, but okay.
No. Wait till we go live then. Don't
Well, we're live.
Don't spoil the goods. What time is it?
2:59.
Okay.
So
then
I wonder if this is on my Facebook feed right now. I think it is.
I'm sure the whole thing probably will be, but when it strokes 3, yeah, we'll start.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that just a vape or?
Yeah. No pot.
Pardon me?
No pot. Just alcohol, tobacco.
No CBD?
Nah. I tried to do the YouTube thing, but I had to invite somebody.
You had to what?
I tried the YouTube, but I couldn't figure out how to invite anybody, so I ended it.
Oh, I got you. But you could post this to YouTube after.
Yeah. Okay, riders, it's 3 o'clock, and today we're doing first for BMX hunters. We're going to be doing a live broadcast with my most famous guest of the last couple of weeks, Brant Clark. Brant Clark has more hits than Mike Miranda on the website. So for you,
dude, I gotta take those wins wherever I can get them at 56 right now.
So everybody that follows my page knows that I brag about a lot of riding for bikes and all the team that we had and that type of thing. But when I was talking to Brant a couple of days ago, and we were talking about different teams that were out there, Monrovia, Azusa, that's primarily where I raced, but Brant raced a lot more places than I raced. We started talking about the different teams that were out there. So we thought, maybe we should be talking about the local teams that we had to race against and some of their hot shot riders that were out there that we remember. Give shout outs to them, and maybe with the people that are following the page, maybe 1 or 2 of those riders is actually watching the video edit right now. So, Brant, I appreciate you coming on. When you think of other teams that race against main bikes, what teams stand out to you that were the best or that we had to worry about the most?
I would have to, and I start out with all right. Do over. Sorry, Kevin. I would have to say there was Azusa Bike and Moped. There was Monrovia Schwinn, and they were probably the they were the day in, day out local riders that rode Azusa, obviously, with Azusa Bike and Moped, and Monrovia Schwinn, which I believe Matt Hayden rode for first with
and Tim Kirsten just signed on, so Tim's watching, so he's going to be critiquing you, man.
Bubba, thank you very much. I appreciate the follow. So right on.
Let's talk about Azusa individually. Azusa Bike and Moped. Never heard of them. Who raced for Azusa Bike and Moped? Do you remember anybody?
I believe Billy Weeks used to race for them, and their superstar was this giant. I think he was Dutch, but his name was, they used to call him Jack Flash. It was Jack Van Bohemian. That was his name. And Azusa Bike and Moped used to have, I think it was like the Vera leathers back then, where there was a lot of old school leather, writing of each letter, your name, or Azusa Bike and Moped, and they did a few, I think Cook Brothers used to be Vera, but yeah, some of the closest rivals were Monrovia Schwinn, Azusa Bike and Moped, and then I'd say like S&K, El Monte Cyclery.
Yeah.
You know,
Right, so
there's just a couple more.
the Monrovia Schwinn, Monrovia Schwinn, their team had a special connection with your brother, at least, right? Wasn't his arch rival on Monrovia Schwinn?
Yeah, that was late in both of our BMX careers, where Corey and his arch rival from Monrovia Schwinn, Rich Roldan, and we'll give him a quick shout out for serving in the military as well. But yeah, that was my brother's arch rival. They battled every Wednesday, Friday, Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I remember when I first started racing, I remember Corey racing Rich a couple times, but then Rich kind of fell off. And wasn't Bobby Binkley one of his competitors too, or no? Out of Barstow?
Yeah, they were in the same class, but like you said, Bobby lived out in Barstow, so he didn't race so many tracks way over where we were. Right.
But, so Monrovia Schwinn, Rich Roldan, shout out. I found him on Facebook, and I screenshotted his profile, and I sent it to your brother. And the first thing he said was, "Dude, my arch rival."
Yeah,
it was funny, man. So yeah, I remember Rich Roldan racing. I never. That was way before my time as a pro. But then after he stopped, I seemed like I raced your brother every week, actually, because I was 17X. But anyway, so we covered Monrovia Schwinn, Azusa bike and moped, S&K. It seemed like to me S&K had a fast team. I can't remember anybody except for one person, which was Rex Butler. Do you remember anybody else?
I wish I could, but I don't remember any names. But I do remember they were like, they were always in the hunt, like they had a big team. It wasn't necessarily, there were a couple guys up in my age group, but it was more younger. There were some teams that had like some younger kids that were superstars, like the Billy Weekses, where he's like 6, 7-year-old expert and, getting traveled around the nation to race nationals and stuff like that. So
that Rex Butler, when he was expert and I was just starting, and he was a year younger than me, and I was after I made intermediate, we were always on the gate, and we were always, if I could get out with him out of the gate, I could hang with him. But until one day, Dave Wilson said, "Hey Kevin, man, you want to go on Riders Ready?" That's back when they had the hand gate, and I was like, "What?" He goes, "Trust me, go on Riders Ready." So I went on Riders Ready from that point on, and I always got out ahead of Rex Butler. But Rex Butler gave me some troubles early on in my racing day, and I'll take this moment to shout out to my arch rival. When I was a beginner, he was a beginner. There's some dude named Delaney out there that copied me to buy a Daryl Young after I did, and we raced 16 every together. Shout out, you were my arch rival.
Nice.
But nice. Yeah, that's the only guy that I can remember from S&K. What do you got going in the background, man? You got music or something?
No, I have no music.
Okay. I heard something. Maybe that's my background. Anyways, dude.
Your audio just went a little funny.
Okay.
So
what else?
Maybe that was it. Dude? What's that?
What are the bike shops you got on the list?
Harbor BMX.
Harbor.
They used to have brown and yellow gear. Very earthy. Can't name anybody other than I think maybe Tom Bednors, which I ended up actually doing that Keds commercial with Harry, Larry, Eddie King, and as my brother reminded me, it was Doug Davis, who was like a younger class than me. But those were the factory guys then. And yeah, we did that Keds Shoes commercial. And the other guy besides me and my brother and Harry Leary, Eddie King, and Doug Davis was Tom Bednors. And he was a local hotshot, as we used to call it, at Ascot and Harbor BMX. Right? Those are some other tracks. I wrote that down. Some other tracks that I raced that after watching your interview with Mike Miranda, and if you guys haven't seen it, go to BMX Hunters, check out the interview with Mike Miranda, legendary Hollywood, such a cool guy. And
his podcast is sick.
Oh yeah, the Dirty Knobs. Check out his podcast for sure, Dirty Knobs, and they got the Dirty Fest coming up. I hope you're signed up. I'm out in Florida, so I mean you could run whatever you brung, and when the gate drops, you don't even have to pedal, as Mike said. It's all downhill, coasting. If you want to jump something, you can, but it's all rollers. Like I would love to be there and do it on that GT bike. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That would be legendary.
So what we got. I remember Ralph's bikes. It seemed like a lot of factory guys came off of Ralph's. Do you remember anybody that raced for Ralph's?
Yeah, there was quite a few guys, and that like Ralph's was a breeding ground for GT. There was a young guy. Now he already went through a baseball career and now is coaching or managing or something like it. Mark Kotze. He went from Ralph's Bicycles to Factory GT. Jeff Schofield was a original Ralph's Bicycle guy before he went to GT.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a few others that were my age that I raced that were Ralph's Bicycle guys.
Okay.
But yeah, always tough guys. He didn't have any slouches on his team.
like our team, right?
Wait.
So
I'm not agreeing to that. Thank you for the hats, by the way. But as you said, you took over my spot.
Okay, so we can't let Chris Fikes down, and the team that Chris Fikes rode for was Bicycles Unlimited. I have no clue where they were from. I do know that they had a team and that it was run by the Part family. Does that sound correct to you?
By the who?
By the Part family. Does that sound correct?
The Part T, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the Partees, and they were back with the Ainsworths. Like they were, they had some like young daughters that raced dudes that were beating them in classes. But yeah.
And talking about girls that beating boys, there was Cindy Ainsworth. Remember her?
Yeah. There was a Sherry Ainsworth, and there was a Sherry Elliott and a Jody Robledo that I used to have to race.
Really?
In 14, I think 13X, 14X. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, they were tough chicks. I raced Tom Christopher's sister, I think it was Margaret Christopher.
It's funny, dude.
Yeah, out of Monrovia. She was just a stick figure, but could spin the shit out of some gears. Monrovia, like other people have commented, Monrovia was a track that you had to show if you were put any effort into it or working out. You weren't just showing up on race day and riding around the track because it was downhill and all of that. It was Monrovia was a power track. You had to pedal.
Monrovia was flat as a board, dude. Right?
Yeah, so was the starting gate, but that's when it was a manual starting gate, and you had legendary gate starters like Eric Cosen's dad, who had the full cadence that was like, okay, riders ready, pedals ready, go, and you knew right when to pull back and launch. Such a classic, manual gate, not a okay, riders, watch the lights.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Daryl Foster's dad at Monrovia too, right?
Oh yeah, he ran it. He was up on top doing the announcing. Daryl, I think, was a better jumper than racer overall, and only because his dad ran the track and he was there all the time. So he knew the track back and forth. So he wasn't going to practice. He was trying to get air and have fun, So props to that guy.
The first time we drove in Monrovia, we looked at the berms and we were like, holy shit, look at this place. Look at the size of these berms, dude. We were used to the berms at like Johnson's track or something, dude. Like a foot high, dude. These things were like, oh my God, this is a real track. It was crazy, dude. We were total culture shock the first time we went to Monrovia, dude.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. The local hotspots to ride BMX that weren't racetracks, where you were in your area, the Garfield Parks, the Lacey Parks, the Elephant Hill, right? Come on, dude.
That was the worst place to ride I've ever been. Man, I mean, we went there every other day, but it was not at all, dude.
It was so sandy and the roughest conditions. I mean, Larry Brooks was up there ripping it up, on a daily. Larry Brooks did
like a 100-foot fucking double jump on that one.
A little step up over the mountain, down the other side, up the face. All right. Yeah, remember that? That was a challenge. Can you take your car and drive it up the face of Elephant Hill? That's where Corey went like this all the way up in the Chevy Malibu. I just made the face. Let's go hit the Rose Bowl and blow all the trash cans out of the jogger's path. Boom, boom, hit him with the front bumper.
That's what. And then Chris Fikes took his mom's B210 up the face. That was the best, dude.
Yeah, a B210. It was still Datsun back then.
Yeah, dude, that was crazy, dude.
People don't even know.
I do remember riding Lacey Park a little bit, but I don't remember any of the jumps. I can't believe that San Marino let people build jumps in the park. So that did happen, right?
Well, it wasn't that we built jumps in the park. It was more good training facility because it had long, like really smooth pathways that had a bunch of, turns and stuff like that. And there were some parts where you'd cut across the grass and do a couple rollers and whatnot. But as far as the jumps go, we were back in the maintenance department, rearranging all the mulch and manure and all that stuff that they used to keep the park going.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that must have been. For those that don't know about Lacey Park, Lacey Park is in San Marino, California, which is a very wealthy, to-do city in our area. And I'm surprised that they would let BMX in there to ride. It's funny, man. And then we cannot have any podcast without talking about Garfield Park.
Exactly, our home stomping ground.
Garfield Park was our anybody that had a popular riding spot around their town in the 80s where they grew up. Garfield Park was ours in South Pasadena. It was incredible. It was nothing special. We built little jumps, and we jumped very far and very high. And we'd have 30, 40 kids there on a Saturday afternoon. The cops would raid us, and we'd scatter like roaches when you turn the light on. We used to jump trash cans. There wasn't enough trash cans near where we were riding, so we'd have to go all throughout the whole park and grab trash cans that weren't chained down and bring them over to jump trash cans. It was great.
As you said, grab trash cans that weren't chained down. They only started chaining them down because we kept grabbing them and dragging them all the way down to the picnic tables and jumping them and not going back and putting them back.
Yeah. And then so we started with one trash can laying down, and then we went to 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we got 6 trash cans laying down. And then my brother said, dude, maybe we should try standing them up. So then we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 standing up. And then we were saying, well, what can we do next? And we looked at where we're all sitting on picnic tables, and we're all, hey, dude, let's jump the picnic tables.
Yeah.
First, we started with one picnic table short ways, and then one picnic table long ways, and then one picnic table long ways and one short ways behind it. And then finally, the only guy that I ever saw that jumped 2 picnic tables long ways was my brother. And that was the biggest, baddest jump that I ever remember at Garfield Park by far. Do you remember anything better?
Sorry for that, Bubba. I'm going to go with Scott Graham hitting the bowl jump and launching from the bowl jump all the way across the grass, across the sidewalk, then across the median grass and into the street on Mission Avenue.
Okay, so you're talking about the one around the, okay, yeah.
Yeah, not the root jump.
The one that Steve Johnson was in the air for 3 minutes. You remember that joke?
I remember calling him out so many times. Let's go race at Monrovia, even with this side hack and all this stuff. Let's race back then. Let's race for bikes. Let's race for bikes.
Yeah. But they did have a kind of a cool track up there, though.
I mean, we were there every day. We can't complain. It was that, that was one of the better ones because we, it had berms that, UI, Brian, Corey, Chris, Spikes, we all, carved those, 9-inch tall berms in the sand through the shit and cut stuff out to make our way through there.
Yeah, dude. That's funny because it was like it went through like 4 or 5 trees, and we had to cut like an arbor out through the whole of the trees so we could get through. And it was kind of funny, man. Riding that. Where else can you think of that we rode back then? We had Elephant Hill, we had Garfield Park. Where else? Oneonta. Remember Oneonta?
Yeah, and that was like riding at the junior high school. It was just all flats, polished cement at a school back then that you could just pitch it sideways and slide around the corners. So, yeah, that was good. Yeah, and Oneonta in the back behind Chris Logg's house. Huh? It was Chris Logg. Okay. Yeah, behind his house were those dirt trails all through the little woodsy area back there. Yeah, it was good. And good stuff.
I think you were already out of BMX at the time when we used to do the junior high school Supercross series. Did you ever do that?
Oh yeah.
You did that?
Yeah, okay. Racing. This is before they even locked up all the locker rooms. Yeah. Right? Or the locker hallways. Yeah, we were doing all the Paris-style jumps, just like the Coliseum, down the giant steps at the high school or junior high.
We used to line the bench up across where the janitor's door is, right? And then we we'd shove our back tires underneath the bench. That was our starting gate. And then we used to come off and go down and hit down the first straight, turn right at the bike racks, and take each other out in the trees and come around. That was fun. We'd be drunk on like a Saturday night and go down to the Super Junior High and ride.
Yeah. Well, let's give Bubba a quick shout out for at least chiming in at some point.
I know that he joined. I don't see he's there anymore.
No, I don't think he is. But
maybe we made him mad.
Like, who else? How many other people do you see on right now?
I can only see one, actually. John O'Hara. John O'Hara, man, thanks for stopping by.
Good on you, mate.
You were there for our first one, and you were the first viewer, so I appreciate that, John. Hope you're enjoying what we're talking about. We're talking about BMX in South Pasadena, California, and the local tracks that we used to race and ride at. And we can't end anything without addressing how we got to the track. Either we rode our bikes all the way from South Pass to Azusa, which was a pretty good clip. How many miles do you say that was?
15 plus, like 15 to 20 miles. I used to call it out as we rode a marathon, just to get to the track, to ride for 2-3 hours and then ride home. You know what I mean? as a workout.
Ride home, and he used to have that big Brant speaker in his back seat of the Malibu, and he used to be cranking Slayer the whole way back. And the big joke was, you put on Slayer, you don't want to go to sleep. He's like, you're the only one that can sleep to Slayer. That was funny. Then the one time I was an expert and I was racing your brother as pro, and he told me before the race, he goes, "Don't even think about beating me in this race. Beat me in the main, you're riding home." I'm like, "Come on, man." Dude.
Right.
I'm like, "Man, you're not gonna leave me here." He's like, "Fucking A, I will leave you right here." I go, "No, dude." So I beat him, and he sure as shit, he left me at the track, dude. I think he did come back for me after, I was like maybe a quarter away home, and I think he came back and found me and gave me right back. But it was hilarious. It scarred me till this day, man.
Yeah, that's why we re-nicked him 80 Grit. He's pretty abrasive.
So who do you want to call out?
On what?
On good riders, bad riders, guys that you didn't like to ride, dirty riders. Anybody comes to mind?
The guys I used to race locally on a daily, good riders, you're Dave Wilson. In my class anyway. Bubba was in my class. We both made it all the way up to expert very quickly, from beginner, novice to expert. And then we were just racing all.
Dirty.
What's that?
Who do you think was dirty?
I can't really even say anybody was a dirty rider. I may have said it at the time, but
okay.
as I look back on it, I gotta think about it now and be like, hey man, rubbin's racing, everybody's going for it. That's what BMX is. It's an individual sport. Yeah, I got taken out, at times, but if I was in the other guy's position, underneath, would I have taken the spot and taken my front wheel out, or taken his front wheel out? A win's a win. You got one lap in BMX. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
We only raced each other when I was a beginner and you were an expert, but I was the dirty rider.
I mean, and you had to use every trick in the book. Like, wasn't that one of your moves, bro? T-bone. Besides that, if we got down to the first corner for the T-bone, I think one of your first moves was the initial launch out of the gate, either immediately to the left or the right to get an elbow in front of the competition and keep cutting over.
You know what? The best part about the first turn at Azusa was when you come through, and if you're not in first, if you're in second or third, the beautiful move is when you're just time it right, where you're right on the guys, you're on top of the guy, and you just hit that back brake and touch and dive bomb on him. And it's so if you could time it just right, you can pass him every time. But if you time it too early, you're hitting his back wheel and you're going over the bars. But dude, that was my favorite. I used to love to do that, man. That was a great move.
That was what was so great about our local tracks. We had that first turn dialed, and if we were on the inside or the outside, just like you said, if we were on the inside, we knew hold off on the brakes and ride that guy high, because you had, it was a nice big bowl turn, that first turn. But after that was a real tight 180, right? So in the first turn, like you said, if you were up high, you could let that guy go right past you with a brake touch, cut down, and have the better of him into the next corner.
That was my favorite. If I wasn't going to T-bone him, that's what.
Yeah, and usually that was the inside move, the T-bone ride all the way up, push him over the berm, and then,
Yeah, that's what happened to Chris Fikes in his first race. He got T-boned and he got put over the first turn.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. So the fastest guys, the fastest guy that I ever raced was Dave Wilson. I never beat him. I came close once or twice, but for some reason he would never let me get ahead of him. I didn't race any factory guys that I could ever remember. I guess technically Bubba Hayes should have been in my class. There are a couple of the guys that were my same age, but I don't remember ever racing any of them. At the 83 or 84 War of the Stars in the NBL track, I raced that dude, Tim Testa. Do you remember Tim Testa?
No, the name doesn't sound familiar.
So I was the 17 and over expert on main bikes, and Keisha somehow found this guy named Tim Testa, and Tim Testa joined the team, and we were the same age. So I was all pissed off. I'm like, Keisha, I'm the same age as this guy. Why'd you bring this guy on the team? He's like, oh, he's NBL. He only races NBL. Don't worry about it. I'm like, okay, fine. So it was me, Tim Testa, a bunch of other dudes that were made the main at the War of the Stars. For those of you watching, the same War of the Stars that Larry Wilcox was there. He fell down and he broke his leg. But I coming out of the gate in the main, I was running Takagi 180s cranks, and I was the only guy that ever raced expert 17X expert that didn't have three-piece redline flights or profiles, or I ran a die comp or Sun Tour bottom bracket with ball bearings and a pair of Takagi 180s. And I came out of the gate, and I never got such a hole shot my whole life. And I looked to my left, nobody. I looked to my right, nobody. I'm all, oh my God, this is the best start I've ever had. My second crank, my fucking crank arm broke off. I broke the crank in half, went over the bars, face planted, messed up my back, messed up my arm, and then I think that was probably one of the last races I can remember ever doing. But yeah, I did Tim Testa, that Dave Wilson, and obviously your brother, you when I was a beginner, and Delaney, freaking Delaney. You're out there, dude. If you're out there, comment on one of these videos, because that was me that you raced.
Arch enemy stuff.
My brother used to dice it with Matt Hayden, man.
What's that?
My brother used to dice it with Matt Hayden all the time.
Yeah.
I
I raced him here and there. I think he was a year younger than me, and I may have beat him a couple times early on in like open class races. You know what I mean? At like a double points deal where you're just like looking to grab a trophy. And speaking of trophies, I just happened to have one of my first, we'll try to get that in there, Azusa.
First place.
Boom. Remember when all we did was we lived for this? Aluminum can, fake marble, and plastic, bro. It was all about, you know, when you showed up at school the next day and everybody looked at you, they were like, did you trophy? Did you trophy? And you were like,
I remember
second, third.
I remember before my brother and I started racing, we'd go over to your house and you guys had at least 1,000 trophies, dude, all lined up on the crown molding all around the entire house.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah. With a whole corner with piles of like double points races where you'd get those 3-4 foot tall trophies, you know, double, triple points races.
And that's before my brother, that's before Chris Fikes tried to steal your brother's pads off his yellow mongoose that was on your front porch. Do you remember that?
No, but no, I remember my brother's yellow mongoose. Yeah, he had a yellow one. I ended up getting a black one, like as one of my first like real BMX bikes that we bought from a store. And it was a store, I can't quite remember the name, in La Cañada. I'm sure my brother would remember it, but yeah, it was the mongoose with the Tange pinch fork in the front.
Okay, so here's a question for you since you just said that. Is it pronounced Tangy, Tange, or Tange? Do you know?
I just said Tange, but I'm not saying I know how to pronounce it correct.
Years I thought it was Tangy, and then recently I heard someone talk about it on one of the video, and they said Tange. So if you're out there listening to this video, let us know the correct pronunciation of Tangy. Tangy, Tangi.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, being where it was made, that where all three of those are a mispronunciation. You know.
Yeah, totally.
But,
so I remember.
I think they came with Ashtabula forks as well, like that little bladed, original matte black finish, right?
Yeah,
texture coat.
76, 77, 78, nothing like 79. It went to Tange.
Yeah, full cast aluminum moto mags, right? One piece cranks, steel seat post.
Did you ever race Motomax, or was that before your time?
No, I had a bike with Motomags, but I think when I first raced, it was with spoke wheels. Yeah, I don't think I ever raced on Motomags.
Yeah,
I raced on tough wheels. But I didn't like it, and that's where I ended up. That was my whole, like, I'd been racing long enough, and I'd seen all the different wheel and tire setups and this and that. And that's where I went through a little phase, and I went from your usual, 1.125, 2.25, people used to run a big front tire, like a fat front, and a skinnier rear. I always used to run both skinny tires. Then from there, I switched up the rims, went to the tough wheels, and then from there went back and then switched the rims to 1 1/8 inch and even smaller tires.
See, I thought I remembered you running 1 3/8 inch.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, 1 3/8 inch, not 1 1/8 inch. That would be so up. So I'm sorry.
Bubba Hayes rode 1 3/8 inch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine running. I've never ridden a tough wheel in my life. I can't imagine doing it. I guess if it's good enough for Sherry Elliott and Andy Patterson, I guess I could have rode them.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So all I remember from Azusa, I wouldn't want to have been a kid at that time. Because I remember Kotze, I remember Luna, Schofield, Billy Weeks. They had a stacked class, man.
Yeah, and this is like Pee Wee guys. You know?
Ryan Krupp, forget about him.
Oh yeah. For
Snoopy Krupp, little Snoopy on his helmet thing.
Yeah.
Did you know that they were from Alhambra?
I didn't know Alhambra is where they were from. No, but yeah, we knew them. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research on Kruppy, and they were from Alhambra. His dad worked at Alhambra Cadillac, and so he was a car salesman. And he got into an argument with buddies at work, and they made him a bet that said if whoever loses the bet has to go to beautician school. And Brian's father, Don Kruppy, rest in peace, lost the bet, so he had to go to beautician school. So he was a licensed beautician.
Wow, that's class.
Yeah, dude. So okay, so that was that class that I remember. I don't remember much about NBL. I never raced NBL that much, only the triple pointers. You were probably more of an NBL guy than I was, right?
Yeah, but it was later on when they built that track that Azusa there behind the Eagles Lodge had been there for a long, long time, and that was our, like Wednesday, Friday, Sunday racetrack out of the others that we were racing. I think at one point chasing points, we were like 6-7 times a week racing, twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday, every night of the week. And those are like some other tracks that there were other teams at that I saw very infrequently, but they were prevalent at those tracks, like Main Bikes was at Monrovia and Azusa. Your Lightning Expresses and stuff, they were more down at like Orange or Harbor, down to Ascot, Alpine.
You had mentioned the Lightning Express, dude. That's probably the bitchest name I've ever heard.
It was a truck. It was a trucking company. It was a trucking company that I don't know if it was like the owner of the trucking company had a kid that he sponsored, but one of my competitors, Mike Chapman, who was, better than me in the long run. We had our bouts. I beat him here and there, but I'd have to say in the long run, he had a better career than I did as far as winning nationals and stuff like that. I had much better luck at the tracks I was racing 3 times a week. So
okay, Bubba's back on, dude. Bubba says magic mushroom, dude. Okay, so I have funny magic mushroom stories. What's your story with magic mushroom? Who rode for? Besides, was Tim their only rider?
I didn't ever race another rider from Magic Mushroom, except I think at Monrovia, maybe once or twice, there might have been a couple other guys that came out there. But I'm trying to remember where the Magic Mushroom local track was. And Bubba, chime in here if you're watching. I want to say La Mirada, not La Mirada, but it was like somewhere like in the valley, like Hollywood, Ventura. I can't remember. It was like a La Mirage, right? To your El Mirage. I first started racing dirt bikes out at La Mirage.
The shop was in Glendale, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
So we used to, before Main Bikes, we used to ride our bikes to the Magic Mushroom. So we used to go from South Pass to Glendale, all the way down Figueroa, all the way down York, to Colorado, all the way down Colorado. We used to go to Magic Mushroom and go out there. I think this was before Tim rode for Magic Mushroom. Tim's not commenting on when he rode for Magic Mushroom or who rode for Magic Mushroom, but that's my Magic Mushroom story. I never raced Magic Mushroom. I never bought anything other than stickers for Magic Mushroom. That's all I got for that shot.
I just got a flash from Mike Guittardi, but that was to my Facebook. Might have been that NBL floating the table pick in the Monrovia BMX page. And yeah, if you haven't checked that out, check out the Monrovia BMX page as well. A lot of old school people that we all dealt with at one time or another, and we're out at the track, everybody doing that BMX grind, bro. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Love to hear from any of those people back there with any of the stories that they remember and their classic races, because if we weren't in the race, we were right there watching it, all the way around the track, picking out everyone's mistake. And I'm not doing that. I'm taking the outside. No, it looks slippery on the inside of the sweeper.
Mike Guittardi was there for my first race.
Yeah, he was Factory Cook Brothers. He would be one of my I'd say he'd probably be like a arch rival. I never physically fought with him or anything. I started dating his girlfriend, but that was Mark Kotze's sister, Wendy. So yeah, who was around Bicycle GT.
What team does he manage now? What MLB team does he manage?
I don't know. I'm not a baseball follower. Like my brother says, all I want to hear about is motocross.
And speaking of motocross, I see you have a couple of jerseys in back of you.
Yeah, I've got a ridiculous collection. I've got tons of stuff for sale. 2 bedrooms full of from way back right here when McGrath was on Suzuki for a matter of months, to your latest Jet Lawrence over here, and one of my favorites, your number 15 Dino Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go wrong with Dino. So yeah, huge motocross collection, jerseys, pants, toys, all memorabilia. Hit me up on my Instagram page at the Moto Collector, and take a look at my page. If you're looking for something in particular, shoot me a message. And like I said, I got 2 rooms to dig through. I got something for everybody. And with Biden inflation, I'm making deals these days. So get yourself a blast from the past, or something new like a fresh McAdoo. And hit me up.
So for those out there that are watching and follow my page, now you know a little bit about myself, a little bit more maybe. My name's Kevin Wilson. I'm the BMX hunter. What I do is I hunt down old period correct bikes. The crustier the better. And I like to take them, restore them, and then part with them. I really love the crustier, the dirtier, the older, the rustier, the better. So that's what I started doing. What I do now is what you're seeing here is now we're starting a new podcast. So all the podcast stuff is going to be on BMX Hunters on YouTube, BMX Hunters on Facebook. I'll cut it up all into different pieces, and I'll put this video and other videos that I've made over the years, and I'll put them on my Facebook page. Instagram, I'm on Instagram as the BMX Hunter. Kevin Wilson, find me there too. But most importantly, if you guys are out there and you want to talk about your hometown, your local track, like we just did for the past, I don't know, an hour maybe. If you want to talk about guys race in your area, like that you have, cool stories about what's going on with the BMX industry back in the 80s, reach out to me. Love to have you. We could do a video. We could do something like this, like a live feed. You don't have to be famous. You just have to be infamous, like Brant Clark here.
Right. And hey, if you don't know Kevin, reach out to me and we'll hook it all up and get everybody into the BMX owners page.
Yeah.
That's where it's happening.
That's what's happening. Okay,
yeah.
Brant, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Absolutely.
Now you can go to sleep.
Absolutely, Kevin. My pleasure. Thanks again for the main bike goodies. And happy Easter. Thanks for your service. Always good to talk to you, brother.
And thank you for the 2 people that were watching.
And Bubba, right on. Good
right,
looking out, man.
Right,
I knew we had your interest yesterday. We got one. We got one.
We're
on our
moving
first.
up.
Right on.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you very much for stopping by. Happy Easter. Have a good day tomorrow, and we will talk to you next week.
Peace out.
Peace out, man.